Did you all hang out and talk with Eric last week after the sermon a little bit? Yeah, and that was good? All right, we'll do it again today. A few years ago, I noticed a trend of hashtag blessed. I think it started on social media. I'm not on there a lot, but I think that's where it started. Then it made its way onto those big Stanley cups that people drink out of. Painted wall signs on sale at Michael's craft store. Like many social media trends, I didn't totally get it. Was it like a gratitude thing to count your blessings? Because what it mostly seemed to me was that it was like a brag. Look at me, aren't I blessed? As if God's blessing was apparent in how photogenic your family is on Facebook. Being a bit of a theology nerd, I was thinking of the worst extremes of puritanical Calvinism. If you are rich and successful on earth, it's a sign you are predestined to go to heaven. Ick. The word blessed is a bit tricky or confusing. And the Beatitudes, these famous declarations from Jesus that appear in 3 out of 4 Gospels, are not helping. What does it even mean to say people suffering with persecution, grief, and spiritual poverty are blessed? By hashtag blessed logic, that makes no sense. If we are hashtag blessed, we won't experience these hardships, right? So is anyone too embarrassed to ask a real person about something obvious and pervasive in popular culture does? I asked AI.
Yes, something more right.
Explain hashtag blessed to me. This is what Gemini said. The original intent was to express genuine appreciation for major life milestones or simple joys, a new baby or recovery from an illness. But it often became a sort of humble brag. Hashtag blessed was frequently used to mask a boast as a moment of gratitude, like posting a photo of a luxury boat vacation or a perfect physique. Aren't I hashtag blessed that God gave me this 6-pack? I mean,
hashtag blessed that everyone here exists in the first place.
That's right. So anyway, the AI answer had me cracking up. But this is when it gets really good. Because the humble brag became so prevalent that many people now use the hashtag ironically to describe situations that are not fortunate, like getting a flat tire in the rain or having a toddler meltdown in public. So thanks, AI, for cluing in your clueless vicar. This self-deprecating and funny spin on hashtag blessed might actually help us understand what Jesus meant. Because yes, it's exactly in these kind of lousy moments of inconvenience, embarrassment, and even despair that God is with us. When Jesus preaches, he is looking out at a crowd of people who are already mourning, poor, or persecuted, and announcing that in God's kingdom, they are the ones who are already happy. Happy because their trust is in God. God's favor rests on the humble, the merciful, and the peacemakers. In a world where, despite all the wise spiritual traditions trying to teach us about mercy, compassion, and loving our neighbor, we still seem to think being blessed is the same thing as winning at life. Financially succeeding, being powerful, or having the body of a professional athlete. It's so hard for us to understand that being blessed has nothing to do with any of that. In fact, being blessed isn't about what we do at all. Being blessed is about what God does. God comes to us wherever we are in life. When we are poor in money or in spirit. When we grieve. When we are gentle. When we hunger. And when we make peace. And being blessed is about having that orientation to God and the world. Realizing that we are never alone. That we are completely and thoroughly loved. And we are connected to one another in a network of blessed mutual interdependence. We need each other and God. We take care of each other. New Testament scholar Amy Jill Levine, she's a Jewish New Testament scholar, so she always has a different insight into the text. She defines the poor in spirit in this part of the Beatitudes as those who are humble enough to admit they cannot survive on their own. They recognize that they are the beneficiaries of help from God and others, and so want to help others in return. This contrasts with the arrogance of the self-made person who believes that they earn what they have and who feels that they owe nothing to anyone and feel no obligation to give back. Importantly, Levine also emphasizes that Jesus didn't invent this phrase. It was used by other Jewish groups at the same time that he was teaching to describe people who put their trust in God rather than in their own abilities or accomplishments. The word used for blessed in the Greek New Testament is makarios. Unlike #blessed implication of material fortune, makarios describes a deep, unwavering joy, independent of external circumstances. Some scholarly translations, like the Common English Bible, actually translate the Beatitudes that way. Happy are they. Happy are the immigrants and the citizens who brave the cold with their cell phone cameras to support them. Happy are the trans kids seeking medical care and the parents, doctors, and communities advocating for them. Happy are the government workers and scientists quietly trying to uphold the truth and the law when reckless administration tries to bury them for political reasons. Happy are the officials who resign because they refuse to participate in corrupt legal actions, and the ones being persecuted for doing their jobs honorably. This is the blessing. It's not comfort, but courageous trust in God's righteousness and the goodness of those who uphold it. Trust that makes it possible to be happy even when we are also suffering, also afraid. This past week, Bishop Austin convened the clergy, and he implored us to be among those who publicly stand up for what God has shown us is right, in opposition to the violence and oppression enacted by our government. The bishop plans to gather the clergy monthly on Zoom for prayer and mutual support. This was the first meeting, and he told us that he intends the gathering to be lighthearted going forward, but not this month. It needed to be heavy, he said. And he called us to action, to bravely resist in the way that we discern is right for us. I have to admit that when he said this, seeing the images of masked, armed militia in our streets, my first response to his call was fear. My 2 weeks of spiritual direction training that I just finished threw my whole family for a loop. What would happen to Colin and Hazel and Wesley if I got arrested, injured, or worse? Then I felt sad. How was this happening in our country that I would feel this fear? I've exercised my constitutional right to protest fearlessly many times in my 46 years. Just as that mournful thought rose in me, one of my clergy colleagues posted in the Zoom chat a reminder. The grief that white people of privilege like me feel right now is for a fantasy of what our country has been like. Black and brown people have always known that idealized democracy isn't real, have always felt the fear that those of us who want to be allies are just now experiencing. For centuries, our friends and neighbors of African descent, our indigenous neighbors like Katagoms, and so many others, have persisted in survival and resistance, finding a spark of faith in dark times, finding courage by leaning on each other. And in the words of Lift Every Voice and Sing, the Black national anthem, finding blessing in the knowledge that the God of their weary years, the God of their silent tears, was with them on the stony road they trod. And somehow, even in the midst of suffering and oppression, to find moments of joy and happiness. That is the blessing. This morning, as we reflect on what it means to be Christians in our country right now, let's pause and feel God's blessing with us. God comes to be with us and with everyone who orients their life to God's good ways. This orientation itself bestows a joyful attitude, so that even when we are sad and scared, even when we are confused and unsure what to do, we are blessed and sometimes even happy. Peggy sent me some pictures of some folks out there, some Holy Family folks with their signs yesterday, and the Evans family was up at Ocean Beach participating in the big human banner with like 3,000 other people. And there was joy in that resistance. We won't give up on this country that we love, for all its flaws built in from the start. Because we are blessed, we keep hoping and we keep building a democracy that lives up to the fantasy. So that, as the lyrics of Lift Every Voice and Sing end, shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.